My brother ignored us for years. Now he wants part of the inheritance. My dad passed away almost 2 months ago now. He had 3 children, myself and my 2 older brothers. Being the only girl in the family, my older brothers had a tendency to push me around thinking that they knew more than I did because they were older than me. Whatever. By the way, this comes from Competitive Alps 871 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So once we all became adults, Brother B, I will refer to him, Brother B, let's call him Brad, went off on his own and pretty much alienated our family. Then he got married and he further alienated our family. He had only my parents, only grandchildren, and I can literally count on one hand how many times he brought them to visit my parents before Brother Brad's own kids became adults in spite of living only 10 minutes away from my parents. They never visited them. In case anybody is wondering, no, Brother Brad was not abused or anything growing up. He just has always been selfish and self-centered. If anything, he was the spoiled one growing up. Our parents were way more lenient with him than they were with my brother and I. The few times his family had contact with my parents, his wife in particular was quite nasty with my mom. My mom was quite elderly by the time the grandchildren were little, so that further irritated me for her to disrespect an elderly person, let alone their mother/grandmother. But to keep peace in the family, I'll let it slide. Strangely enough, had I spoken up, I would have been the bad person, and I knew this, and I didn't want to further make waves, so I remained silent. I did speak up pretty tactfully to my dad a couple of times about it, and I already saw it was going to create huge waves, so I let it go. My dad and I did ask Brother Brad a couple times why he rarely visited my parents, and Brother Brad would say he was busy. But he sure made plenty of time for his wife's side of the family. I mean, I get that it happens like that sometimes, so we pretty much just accepted it. We could see nothing was going to change, so why get ourselves upset over something that clearly was not going to change? Fast forward to my dad passing a couple months ago. Brother Brad has been bugging me about Dad's will. I mean, literally, Dad was not even cold in the ground yet, and Brother Brad, who notoriously never called me, suddenly was calling me asking about Dad's will. Little surprise, Brother Brad started contacting both myself and Brother Adam. Brother Adam is Dad's executor. I'm guessing he's going to try to talk to us into giving him a percentage of our inheritance. Now I can say that Dad told Brother Adam and I many times the reason he did this was because Brother Brad had already inherited a large bundle from my dad's 2 sisters, and Brother Adam and I had not. So Dad kind of wanted to level the playing field, so to speak. But Brother Brad started this whole conversation by basically saying he guesses he wasn't a very good son or brother, which, yes, I guess you could say that. Brother Adam and I ignored that text of his. Then Brother Brad began making some small talk through text. I initially replied, keeping it brief, but now I'm ignoring those texts also. Brother Adam still somewhat talks with him via text, which I think is foolish, but that's obviously his decision. One of my dad's sisters passed away earlier last year, and Brother Brad was cut out of her will, though she previously signed her house over to him, which he sold for almost $200,000. Brother Brad began hounding me and also my dad, trying to persuade us to get Brother Adam to divide his very large inheritance from Auntie. That aunt left the lion's share to Brother Adam, and trust to me, it was a massive fortune. Brother Adam retired.
Wow.
That is big. That's a lot of money.
If you got enough money to retire, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. At least potentially, close to $1 million.
Probably more than that.
Yeah, probably more than that, but at least $1 million.
At the very least. I feel like you're rushing if you just retire as soon as you get $1 million.
Yeah.
It seems a little rushed. Depending on where you live, maybe.
Well, I mean, I feel like you could retire for $1 million in most areas around the states that are not cities.
Yeah. But I just mean maybe just wait, you can keep going a little. I guess there's something. Is there something that stops you? I guess in my head when you retire, it's there's a rule. It's no more work for you. No.
You could retire from doing stuff you hate.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, our dad was already in hospice by then, almost at 93 years old. He certainly did not need that aggravation of being hounded about his sister and her will. And I know how Brother Brad is. Once he starts on a topic, he just doesn't shut up. He was doing his best to persuade Dad to get Brother Adam to split his inheritance. At the time, I did try to see Brother Brad basically being banned from seeing Dad because, in my honest opinion, Dad didn't need that stress and aggravation. But the hospice staff told me because Dad was still of sound mind, it had to be my dad's decision. So now, here we are again. Brother Brad is doing what he did when our aunt passed away, starting off with small talk, but I'm eventually sure he's going to be working his way into asking that the inheritance be split up. Incredible, or should I say incredulous. At any rate, when this first started happening, I felt a little bit bad because I felt like I just lost my dad. Then I was losing Brother Brad, but I quickly realized you can't mourn a relationship that you didn't have. So I don't feel bad at all. I am not one to ignore people, and yes, it sucks that it's family, let alone immediate family, but quite honestly, I guess he's getting what he deserves after all these years. So, am I wrong for feeling this way? I suppose some people might say he's trying to build a relationship, but a leopard doesn't change his spots, and truthfully, this is his MO. I saw it whenever my aunt passed away, and I can say with 99.99999 certainty, he is never going to try to build a relationship with us / my brother Adam and I.
Okay, so when it comes to the turns of phrase that are like the leopard never changes its spots and you can't teach an old dog new tricks and like people never change, it's like there are people who never change.
A lot of people
but
can
there are
change.
people that do. And it's like a lot of those phrases were invented at a time where like people didn't have the resources that we have now. People
like
didn't understand each other interpersonally or even like internally, like personally, the way that they can now.
Good call out.
So I don't, although it is important to like keep people honest if they're changing or not. Like if someone says they're changing, you have to be like, well, that's one thing you're going to have to show me though. Mm-hmm. And then if they renege on that or they backslide to old behaviors, you get to go, hey, remember how you said you were going to change? You're doing the thing again.
If he does try to build a fake relationship, it's going to be brief until he probably would get a chunk of our inheritance. Then I can pretty much guarantee he will be back to ignoring our side of the family. The sad thing is, like Brother A said, we could give him all our inheritance and it still wouldn't appease him. He is just never happy. Nothing is ever enough for him. But hopefully we can be enough for you when you join our live every weekday, 3 p.m. PST, right here on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok and Twitch. Just tap our profile. We're probably live right now. There's another relevant update, but let's discuss, which we just did. And so we're going to go into this update. So it sucks. It's sad, but it happens. I was hurt for many years by our brother alienating us, and I was further hurt realizing that even though we may be spoke to him once or twice a year, we would not be speaking to him at all now. That made me sad at first, but really sad to say, I really don't care now. Am I the a-hole for feeling this way, for my decision to ignore Brother Brad from here on? I did try many times to have a relationship with that brother and his family. When his kids were little, I would buy them nice Christmas gifts, things like PlayStations, that sort of thing. So I did try to have a relationship with them. They all chose to still ignore me and this side of the family. By the time the kids were almost 10 years old, I stopped buying them Christmas gifts. What was the point? But yeah, I did try to have a relationship with them and it failed. And I haven't had this happen with family, but I had a friendship that was super important to me that just like kind of disintegrated. And I kept making an effort, and this person just didn't want to make an effort. And after a certain amount of time, you just have to say, all right, that person doesn't want to make an effort. I'm not going to wish them harshly or like speak badly of them, but I'm going to respect that they want this like relationship to die. Or maybe die is too harsh, but to peter out, to fade. And just as everyone has every right to keep the relationships they want in their life, and for me to ask for a reason for me to ask for that connection, I feel just I have no right to that. I think a relationship is a two-way street.
It totally is.
Any relationship. the friendship.
Yeah.
Again, your partnership, your loved ones.
Yeah.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah. And sometimes relationship context can change without. Matt says, was it that girl with the boyfriend Sam? Damn, you guys have great memory. Yes, it was.
They just know your lore.
Not the. Well, it was a girl. No, sorry. Was it that girl with the boyfriend? No, it was not. No, sorry.
I was about to say,
friend from college.
Well, I feel like I know why that friendship ended.
No. Sorry, friend from college. From college.
Yeah, that would be a crazy twist, though.
No. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well. Yeah, it does take work, and that's why as we get older, our circles tend to get smaller as we get out of school and out of high school and out of college.
It's hard to maintain
because it does. It takes energy and it takes a presence, and like when you're in a communal place with a bunch of people all the time, it's really easy to maintain sort of that familiarity and that presence. But as people move on and they like start all their own lives, like it does take a lot of effort to maintain like long distance friendships and to have them maintain the level of meaning and depth that they had in the past.
And especially in a place like America where I feel like there's not many, communal spaces. There's not like these third spaces where people join and congregate as much as maybe, in places like some areas of Europe. Like, I feel like America does it really well in college where everyone congregates and there's this massive sense of community. And then outside of that, maybe you get it at work, but most often not.
Yeah, I think most people would go work. I mean, maybe like church if they're religious.
It's hard. And it takes effort. You can do it. It actually is like a problem that I want to work on in general. Like solving loneliness is something I'm super passionate about.
That's actually really awesome.
Yeah. Which is new show is coming out January that kind of addresses that problem. So
stay tuned.
I showed you guys this that right?
I think so. I don't want to blow it, but I think I have seen it.
Yeah.
But
and it's really good, honestly, from what I've seen. Yeah.
Thanks, bro. I'm excited. But with that is the end of that story.